Welcome to Living on Purpose. I'm Dr. Allison Brumley, and I'm here with my friend and co-host Karen Cox. She's a health and wellness coach.
Well, it's good to be here again today, Dr. Brumley, to just have a conversation and sit down here with our listeners and discuss an important topic today.
Yeah. And what we really want to help each one of you do is live on purpose, living your best life, really taking these small steps that can make you feel so much better. It really is. The takeaway I would really want for you is small, consistent steps.
Oh, that's a great way to start off this episode. Small, consistent
Well,
step, and it's so true.
they end up making huge changes in your life when you're consistent.
Mm-hmm. We think that we need to take the big step and do the big thing, and then we'll make the change.
Or do all of it.
Yeah.
Right? With what we just talked about, the morning routine, like just to do all of it might be overwhelming for some. Mm-hmm. So I love to just break that down.
Yeah. So maybe today we're going to give you lots of things to help you empower your health and your health journey. So, and to help maybe take some of the frustration out of it for our listeners. But we're going to give a lot of steps, but maybe you can just take one.
Yeah, it'll be good. I feel like there's a lot of confusion out there of what's the most important, and it might vary from person to person. And depending on what your life is like, what your work schedule is like, the kids, how's your sleep, all of those things. So I really encourage patients to empower themselves with knowledge, take the small steps, and then you make big changes from there.
Yeah. So what we're talking about today is health, your health journey as an empowering experience for you. We both talk to so many people as we help people navigate their health, and we hear their frustrations. Mm-hmm. We hear what's not working for them. We hear how they're struggling and that they don't really know how to express their struggle. And so maybe we can help with that today.
I would say the women I see feel many times like their health is out of their control. Mm-hmm. It's genetics or it's the lifestyle that they can't change. But even that, you can make subtle changes, and genetics is only this much. Mm-hmm. They talk about with cancers even, that maybe 20% is due to genetic influences and the rest are lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think some of that frustration that we're going to get into today is that symptoms get dismissed of, well, that's just normal for your age or normal for pregnancy or postpartum. It's just normal. When you don't feel normal, that can be a frustrating answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I, in most cases, will say it should not be that way. Mm-hmm. I think we have a lot to overcome in our environment. We'll talk a little bit more about toxins at some point. Mm-hmm. So there are some things, but there are a lot of things that can be mitigated at home.
We're working to help empower a person. We're mostly talking about female and female health, but this could apply to anybody. One of the first steps is knowledge.
Agreed.
And learning about how your body works, which is one of the purposes of this podcast.
Absolutely.
It's for you to teach us about our bodies. So why do you want to empower your patients, because I know you do this all the time, with knowledge about how their bodies work?
Well, these women are coming into me because they don't feel well. And many times, most times, they're not getting answers anywhere else. And so my goal is always to help them understand their labs, understand the changes that they're making, even if they're small, are going to be those steps that get you to wellness, get you feeling better. So when you have that knowledge and understanding of what's going on in your body, the complication of hormones are very complicated. Mm-hmm. But you have that understanding of how your body should work and the things that you can do to help it work better. everyone feels better.
You know, I've always been interested in health. I've always been interested in how the body works. But I realize that's not everybody's interest. But just there's a lot of easy reads out there on how the body works. So if that's one thing that you could do to empower your health is just pick up a book and read. Listen to a podcast and learn about bone health, about muscle health, about the importance of digestion, how your cells work. Just in little doses, learn about how your body works. Then it's empowering because then you don't look at food the same way when you know how a cell works. And it helps. I always feel like knowledge is empowerment.
Yeah, there are so many good resources out there, so many doctors who are writing books. I really like the book by Dr. Mindy Pels. Well, she's got 2 books, The Fast Like a Girl and Eat Like a Girl. Those can be really helpful. And the Eat Like a Girl is a cookbook too, gives you recipes and things like that are very helpful.
One of my favorite books that I refer to a lot of people, and especially young girls, in helping them understand their cycle is The Period Repair Manual by Laura Briden. I really like that book. It really helps paint a clear picture of what's going on with your period, helps you take a period report card, and helps give you a little bit of that body literacy so that you know what's going on.
Yeah, get back to that. Knowledge is power. And I would say for any particular aspect of health that you are interested in or you feel like you're lacking knowledge, that's the thing to focus on.
Yeah. If you want to learn more about food, then focus on food. If you want to learn more about hormones, take some small steps to learn. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, because hormones are complicated.
So the next maybe step we could have our listeners take is those small, consistent steps. And why small, consistent steps are important? Why do you feel like they're important?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just to not be overwhelmed. That doesn't do you any good. You know, things that you can start that then become a habit and then you don't have to think about. And then you add on to that and you add on to that till pretty soon you've got a healthy lifestyle. You're eating better. You're eating to live joyfully and feeling good versus just eating to eat.
It's like our habits can turn into something that's autonomic. I mean, that we just automatically do. But to begin to do that, we have to think about it. We have to have intention with it. So we talked about getting morning sunlight. If it's not your habit to get up and open up the shades and let the light in or step outside on the porch, you're going to have to think about it. You might have to have some sticky notes up on the wall or a checkbox to like, oh, did I do that today? But then pretty soon it's just automatic. You automatically get up, you open up the blinds, the shades, you step outside on the porch. It becomes automatic. And that's when it starts to make a difference. It's like at first it's grueling. We have to keep doing it. And then when we notice, oh, I feel so much better, it becomes an automatic habit. Then you get to work on another one.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And I often say drop by drop. Like if you put a bucket under a stream of water, it just comes hard and fast. And sometimes we just can't take life that way. We have to just let it drip. But pretty soon the bucket gets full. It gets done. So I think and it's more doable that way. And we don't fail as often when we just make consistency our intention instead of overwhelm and overload of all the things that we need to do. So we learn that we just got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I need to really make some lifestyle changes, and it might feel very overwhelming. I know Oftentimes patients come into your office and they get a bunch of blood work back, and it can look really overwhelming to reverse some of the disease and the things that are happening in the body. But we like to let's just start with one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Often I hear you say, I'm giving you all of this. Just start with one.
Mm-hmm.
Just start with one, because if people will just start with one change, then they'll start to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can add another change and
Mm-hmm.
they'll feel a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And we just
Just
move in
go
that
from
direction.
there.
We didn't get, when we were full of disease, we didn't get there overnight.
No.
We're not going to get better overnight.
Yeah, yeah. And with lifestyle, I will tell people you can't supplement your way out of a bad lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
That the lifestyle is the critical foundational component to good health.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of stumbling blocks around us, whether you're talking about a toxic environment or a busy life. There are a lot of stumbling blocks, and to not get overwhelmed is one of my most important and crucial things for patients.
Mm-hmm.
Is don't get overwhelmed. Do what you can do, and then the more you learn, we could go back to that knowledge piece. The more you learn and understand that what you're doing is helpful. There was a study done on making habits and becoming good at something, becoming really good. And consistency was the key in that research. It was 18 minutes a day. Yeah. Consistently, you can become a champion of anything.
18 minutes a day.
18 minutes a day.
I like that.
Which doesn't seem that long.
Right. When you put it that way, 18 minutes a day.
To become amazing at whatever you're doing for those 18 minutes a day.
And, we sometimes don't always want to take personal responsibility for our health. We have really been in a cycle in our country of something's wrong. I'm going to take my health to a doctor and say, fix it. And then they give us something to take that might fix it, and we don't take any responsibility or accountability for what got us there in the first place. And, we've heard a lot of talk lately about making America healthy again, and some new policy changes coming on the horizon, some things that I think will really help us get some of these toxins and things out of our air. But we've got to take some responsibility on that. If we're buying the processed food and we're always consuming it, then at some point we've got to stop.
Right.
We've got to say, you know what, I'm going to take some responsibility for what's happening with health. And I think that's all of us personally, just like
I agree.
It's a personal responsibility. It's not somebody else's responsibility to take care of our bodies.
Mm-hmm. And I would say most of the people I talk to, whether it's in clinic or even outside of clinic, most of the women I talk to, they want to have that. Mm-hmm. They just are sometimes confused as to what that means.
Right.
If they go to see a conventional medical doctor that runs some labs and their labs look good, and they say, no, you're fine. You're tired, but you're not. You go in with tired. Mm-hmm. Who's not tired these days? You're not anemic. Your B12 level's fine. You're fine. Get more rest. Or I'll hear, doctors say if you just lose some weight. And that's not always the case.
Well, so let's talk about that as a step. Like, how do you advocate for yourself when those very things happen? I just had a mom tell me of her story of her son was just not well. And every time she would take him to the doctor, they would say, we can't find anything wrong, so therefore there's nothing wrong. And she couldn't let it go. She had that gut, and she just kept searching and searching. And finally, she found out there was something wrong, and now getting help. But a lot of people don't have the stick-to-itiveness to fight the system so hard. how do we help empower women to better advocate? How can we better advocate for ourselves?
Well, I love what you said about she just kept looking and searching. And I do talk to a lot of women who do that. The interesting thing is that they do that more for their children
Than themselves.
than themselves. But I do. If something doesn't feel right, it's your clue. Symptoms are clues that something is not right. And if you go to your doctor and they do some basic labs and they say, no, you're fine. And you could push the envelope a little bit with, I really feel like something's wrong. Is there anything else we could do? If that doctor just says, lose some weight or get more sleep, you need a new doctor. So it's not such a bad idea to shop around, read reviews. Of course, I have that special little component of more of an integrative medicine approach, which does cover more areas. You don't get just basic labs, you get extensive labs. And so just don't stop.
It's learning to ask the right questions, and it's okay not to accept an answer that doesn't align with how you're feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things that I encourage in coaching when they need to is maybe ask it a different way. Like if they're saying, well, your labs are not showing anything wrong, then to say, well, is there another place we can look? Is there another avenue? Do you think those labs might, for me and my person, I run low. Like know where your body normally runs, and then when you look at your labs, you can say, but that's really low for my normal. Mm-hmm. And so learning what normal looks like for you, like help is like one of the things is I always ask, well, when did you feel your best? And then it causes someone to think and go, that 10 years ago I felt really great. Well, then what changed? Mm-hmm. And if we can ask our own selves those questions, like, when did I feel my best? What changed? Why am I feeling? And so then maybe you can give a better history when you sit down with your care provider mm-hmm. and advocate for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're really journaling, understanding your symptoms, where you're at can help you advocate better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really, really important. Even in my clinic, that your health is your business. Mm-hmm. Your health is up to you as to what you want to do with it. Mm-hmm. And I love the word advocate. I really do, that you are your best advocate when you gain some knowledge and some understanding of whether it's hormones. I mean, women are overwhelmed. They just did a study in 2023 about stress, and they did it between men and women overall say that they are more stressed. And that stress, then they broke that down into depression and anxiety symptoms. With the stress, do you feel more depression, more anxiety? And it was about half and half, where they really felt like the stress actually affected the mood.
Yeah, so true. I noticed that in my own life, mm-hmm. that the stress really does affect my mood.
Mm-hmm. So that if you have been journaling, we've talked about mm-hmm. doing something like that, you can journal your symptoms, and then that will help empower you as you go in to see your healthcare provider with making that list and not forgetting. It's so hard to forget.
Yeah, because we've all been there. We've all been, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm going to go to the doctor. You sit down with the doctor. They start asking you questions, and you're like, I don't remember. I don't know.
Write
so
it
it's
down.
a little bit of a preparation
mm-hmm.
on our part before we actually mm-hmm. go, so that we can answer the questions. Mm-hmm. I joked with my husband because he recently went in for a physical. And he's like, they have me fill out that form all the time. Why can't they just look at what it was last time I went in, it's like, well, it might have changed. Honey, you've got to refill out the form. You've got to keep giving the information, and you've got to keep paying attention to what's going on with your health.
Absolutely.
So it's ownership. It's being grateful that they're asking for your history and for what's going on with your health. So I had to laugh about that a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing I really like is having people surround themselves with like-minded people. The rage around here is pickleball. All these women playing pickleball at all hours of the day and night. Regardless if it's sunny, rainy, snowy, they'll find an indoor court. But they make tournaments and they talk, and you get together with this group of people that like the same things you like. Their goals are the same, where they like to be active, they want to be fit, they want to eat healthy, and it just helps you create that momentum of the desire to change the things that need to change or continue the things that you're doing really well.
Right. So a support system is a great step to take if you're feeling a little bit alone in your healthcare journey, whether it's a new journey for you to navigate, and it doesn't really necessarily mean that they're actually going through the same things as you are. I had a friend recently be diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's going through, and I've never had breast cancer, but I was a support to her, and there was so many women that went around her to help support her in this journey, which doesn't make the journey less hard. It just helps it be a little bit more doable. So that community of support, whether it's like-minded, you're all on the same journey, you create we're going to get healthy fit journey this year, a pickleball group. It really does make a big difference, even in the home. I several years ago had to make some huge shifts in my diet and lifestyle for my own health, and I needed to get my family on board with that. Like, I'm going to be making some new things. I'm going to be trying out some new things, and sometimes they were flops and they weren't the best things, and they bore with me. But over time, I think we're all becoming healthier together. And now that it's just me and my husband, it's like, we're going to do this together. We're going to eat less sweets. We're going to eat more whole foods. We're going to exercise more, move more. It does make a difference to not have to go it alone.
Yeah, I think those make a big difference. I was just thinking about, even in my clinic, as I get new patients that are coming in, almost all of them are referred by a friend. And so, I can just picture these women getting together, they're talking, somebody says, oh, my hormones are terrible, in whatever way that is. I'm
going
have
through
hot flashes and night sweats, and you can do that before you're even in menopause. Is have some of those issues with whether it's low progesterone or high estrogen, those types of things. But I can just picture those women talking to each other about the issues, the health issues they have, and they say, oh, you need to go see this doc. And it thrills me.
Yeah, I think it's pretty intuitive as women, as we do band together, we seek support in what we're going through, whether we're a mom of young children and we want other moms with young children around us, and what are you going through and how are you handling this, and we do that together. So same with if you have a health journey you're just beginning, or when you keep trying and you're not really succeeding at it, and get a support group.
Yeah, that's in my 20s. In my 20s, I was in a book club, and it had women ranging from 18 to 60s. Wide range of women. Our book club ended up turning into a dinner club. But it was so nice, because as you're reading books and you're just having discussions with women of all ages, the perspectives are so different.
I love that.
And they really help. So, you could start a book club. I don't know if I haven't done one for a long time. I don't know. They were so in when I was in my 20s.
I still hear of them.
All right.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
still hear of them.
But yeah, if you don't have anything like that, start that, whether it's women in your neighborhood or in your church, or, you've seen them at the kids' schools or you work with them. If there's somebody you feel like is like-minded, invite them to do something. And they have knowledge that you don't, and you have knowledge that they don't, and you just share.
It's empowering. It's empowering to be around people that want to share and have communication and talk around a subject. It's really important.
Yeah. I get really happy when I see women just walking together. They're just walking. Hey, do you want to go for a walk? Because then you get the social aspect and the exercise and the light and all of that.
Yeah, look at all the new habits you get with just one step.
Just one friend.
Yeah.
You have one friend.
Does make a difference.
Yeah.
So now let's have a discussion about how a person can define their own terms of success. Like we see the finish line, or we see what success maybe looks like, and maybe we're saying what success looks like for someone else and maybe not ourselves. So how do we go about redefining that for what it looks like for me as a person?
That really is so individual, and I do think it's really important to find your own path and not think that you need to follow somebody else's path. I think with the social media and the younger crowd, they are hurt when they get on there and think, oh, I wish I looked more like her, or I did more like her, or no. Let that go. Take a deep breath and decide, what would your perfect life look like? What would your perfect life look like? You can write down those goals and then work towards it, but still with the small steps and consistency.
It's true. It's like once, I used to set a lot of goals, and now I don't really set specifically a lot of goals. I usually just set an intention of what I would like to have happen over a period of time. And, one of my intentions right now is I just want to be stronger. I just want to have more strength. I think that's important for my age, for looking at longevity and good health, to have strength. And, it makes it so much, when I just defined my success will be when I get stronger. And every day I'm getting a little stronger. So I think just intention, just setting an intention helps you just to redefine success on your terms, not what it looks like out there for everyone else.
It's so interesting. I don't know if I've ever put that together, because I used to do lists and schedules, and I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Maybe it's an aging thing.
Maybe it's an aging thing. I don't know. But I would say, anything that you feel like is going to keep it in your mind so that you have that goal. You know what that goal is, whether it's an intention, whether it's written down, if you have a buddy to help you with that. Consistency and knowledge are going to be the key takeaways here.
Yeah, consistency, knowledge, getting a group of having some community support behind you, and then defining success on your.
And I'll usually mention, don't try to be perfect.
Oh, I like that.
Don't try to be perfect.
Yeah, what is perfect?
If you're a perfect eater, it's disordered eating. If you're perfect with everything you do and you have anxiety about it, it's OCD. There, you can push it too far. So if you can just keep, in your mind that it doesn't have to be perfect, just good and consistent, and then that can help with the overwhelm.
Good and consistent. I like those words, because that's really what makes it doable, what brings the success. Just 18 minutes a day of good and consistent is going to get us there, right?
Yeah, you end up having a donut one morning. Don't let it get you down. Like you broke, your goal, you broke your intention, and now you might as well just go back to eating
Donuts every morning.
Don't. Well, that sounds so terrible. Sounds so terrible. But absolutely, that it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to not do something or to do something that you didn't want to do one day, but then you just get right back on track and say, well, it was a little blip.
Right, or eat the donut and enjoy the donut, but then tomorrow have the high protein breakfast.
Yeah, the guilt sometimes can be worse than even the donut. So I remember once, it was one of my hormone teachers, long time ago. She was very good. She did keto. She did keto diet, but on her birthday, she ate a donut. She loved donuts. and so she allowed herself that. So let go of the perfection.
Because it's never going to really happen. We're not
We're not meant to be perfect. And
it's just consistency. Consistency of the good things that we need in our lives.
And your life will change.
Great takeaway. Your life will change. Consistency, your life will change. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation that we've had today and hope you feel a part of it. Hope you feel like you are sitting here with us today and maybe you could relate to some of the things that we were saying and maybe some things sparked an idea in you to be able to be more empowered with your health and your wellness journey. We really want you to like and subscribe, then you'll get our next episode. You won't have to search for it. It will just show up for you. So like and subscribe and keep letting us know what you want more of and enjoy your day.